Okay, so I coach and train all around the world. Clients include people in the film industry, Hollywood actors, people in the recording industry, doctors, financial traders, ministry leaders, quite a few number of people that I just intersect with them. And like Cardon shared with you, I help them find where they are, picture where they are going, and then overcome all of the internal and external obstacles of getting them there. Big secret, big surprise. You ready for it? Almost all of it is internal. In fact, when we are not aware of the internal obstacles, we will manifest external obstacles that don't even exist. And the ones that are legitimate, we will certainly make sure we hit them. Now, I want you to understand something about an obstacle. If you see the obstacle, you hit the obstacle. If you see what you're after on the other side of the obstacle, you will destroy that obstacle and anything else in between you and what you want most. So you see the obstacle, you hit the obstacle. If you see the goal, you destroy the obstacle. Any football fans in here? That guy got to the quarterback. I don't care which game you're thinking about, which team you're thinking about. Dallas Cowboys, by the way. I'm sorry, I didn't hear y'all. Y'all can say it louder. Did you say Steelers? Oh, Lord. So, okay, Chiefs, take them, right? Okay, Saints. The defender has obliterated the quarterback. He gets to the sideline and somebody says, dang, you trucked that lineman. What lineman? The lineman that was blocking you. I hit a lineman? You didn't see? No. Because my aim wasn't to hit the lineman. My aim was to get to that quarterback. Apparently that lineman was in my way. But because I wasn't trained to block the man in front of me, I was trained to destroy him to get to that quarterback or running back. So, first question, I'm a life coach. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions today. I wasn't planning on this one, but I'm going to put it out there. What obstacles are you continually running into because you're seeing the obstacles instead of the goal? And what happens if you spend more time seeing the goal than you do the obstacle? Okay, so in addition to training people all around the world, coaching people all around the world, I also train and certify coaches. Just a couple days ago on Thursday, I completed 16-week of life coach, transformational life coach training and certification for 9 brand new coaches that are now launching into how they plan to use that to help our people, to help the people they feel called to help achieve and go beyond limitations. So that's what I get to do with my life. And I need to make sure you guys understand this. You are talking to the richest man in the world. Now, my bank account ain't get the memo yet. Don't matter. It doesn't matter if I die with the same amount or less in the bank. I am the richest man in the world. I get to do this with these folk? Listen, okay. So I'm ready to run through a brick wall already. So y'all just tolerate my enthusiasm. Now, I don't know how much you know it, but I've been standing in front of you for about 10 minutes now. And I've been around you for several more as you walk through the door. The moment you came through that door, I got richer. Because of you. A container of wealth, potential, purpose, identity, and destiny. And what do we know about all of that? Help me, Holy Spirit. I'm just going to follow you. So I had a client, worship leader over in Romania. And he blurts out in one of our coaching sessions, because I'm talking about worth. I'm talking about how it doesn't come from what we do. It doesn't come from how many stages we've been. It doesn't come from all the different ways that we've, operated in out of our gifts. And so he blurts out, interrupts me. Well, where does worth come from then? And I said, well, to answer your question, we got to go back a few days. We got to go back to day 6 of creation. Up until the moment I'm talking about, God was content to say, and poof, let there be poof, let there be poof, let there be poof. Then he finally said one final thing. Let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Genesis chapter 2 says, God then formed man from, excuse me, y'all, I'm gonna be a little gross for a second. God, who was content to just speak it and have it manifest, for this last thing, he said, no. Hold on. I got to get my hands dirty for this. This final thing that I'm going to crown creation with, I got to shape it with my own hands and put my fingerprints. So he did it and formed and shaped, and he got it all exactly like he wanted it. Now watch me very carefully. And then God, the creator of the universe, got breath to nostrils close and did what? And deposited God life into this God-formed shape, God fingerprinted image and likeness that he put on the scene earth and gave dominion and rulership. Did I grow an afro yet? Because I feel like it might. It's coming. What does that mean? Everybody do me a favor. Just take a deep breath through your nostrils. Breathe out through your mouth. That is God life, God essence breathed into you. So now whether you know it or not, you are literally a walking, breathing deposit of purpose, identity, potential, destiny, and heritage dispatched on the earth to do every single thing you are capable of. Okay. All right, Holy Spirit, I'll go back to my script unless you got another plan. But listen, in these dirt suits filled with God essence, we certainly have had the broken and fallen nature that came by God's enemy tell us something otherwise about ourselves. So we'll get into that, but first, take that sheet in front of you, you walking, breathing ambassador from eternity past, living in eternity present, and heading toward eternity future. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Just list dreams that you want to accomplish before you leave this eternity present and go on to eternity future. Now, big dreams, little dreams, crazy, scary dreams, silly, just selfish dreams. I don't want to put any ideas in your head, but one of my dreams is to give away cars to single families. People that are lugging 2 and 3 and more kids on a bus with stroller this and carrier that, and could use a very reliable car. I want to give them away. I want to give away at least 8 per year for the rest of my life. I want to take a culinary class, not because of Mark and Cheese food truck, but just because I love cooking. So big dreams, little dreams. My wife did this several years ago, and then she came back to her list, and some of the stuff on her dream inventory she had already did. One of them was skydiving. That's her dream, not mine. I will be on the ground videotaping and cheering her on from 10,000 feet below. So your dream. And look at the top of that list. If you were to dream without any limitations, education? Nope. Money? Nope. Age? No. No restrictions on these dreams. If you wanted anything, what would you put on that list? I think I've now talked about 1 minute of your 2 minutes, so take 60 more seconds and dream big. And 3, 2, 1. Finish that last dream if you're in mid-sentence. Okay. Now, did anybody get to 10? I know I only gave you 2 minutes. Anybody get to 10? Okay. Anybody get to 5? Okay. All right. Nice and greasy. Get to 3 or 4? 2 or 3? Okay. Now, sometimes that's difficult because as we are growing up through life, we start getting told, stop dreaming. Knock off all that daydreaming, get serious about life. So we start to have dream killers. Anybody got some dream killers around you? They start, and some of them, listen, y'all, they mean well. They're trying to protect us from capital D, disappointment. But listen, disappointment is fuel. The reason we're under these lights is because the inventor of the light bulb failed 9,999 times. But every time he went to bed, he didn't say, I failed. He said, I just learned another way not to make the light bulb. I'm going to try a different way tomorrow. Right? Now, not only did he did not say, I failed, he also didn't say, I am a failure. Okay. How many times did we leave, I made a mistake, and start living in, I am a mistake? How many times did we leave, I didn't do that right, and start living in, man, I can't do nothing right? And I'm telling you, if we got that internally, we got it from external. Okay, Cardon, when you're ready, just start flashing numbers at me so I know how much time I got left. Okay. So here's what happens when we dream. If you would kindly, 2 things. Number 1, get to 20. You don't have to do it in this workshop, but keep that sheet. And I'm going to challenge you to challenge yourself to get to 20. Okay, now turn that sheet over. If you will, draw this with me. I really invite you to draw it because when your hand follows along, it's like you are doubling the impact of what we're about to cover. Hearing it is great. Writing it and seeing it with your eyeballs is 2 more experiences that make this powerful. Okay, so when we dream, 3 voices show up. The voice of reason. I should have wrote them in this way, so I'm going to do this to help my favorite out here. Boop, 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 boop. The voice of intuition and the voice of fear speak up when we start dreaming. Now, most of the dreams come from that voice of intuition. You got a gut, a knower that knows you were made for purpose, potential, and amazing unleash of that God life on the inside of you. So your intuition is nudging you, leading you, tapping you in the middle of the night, letting you fall asleep, and then 1.5 hours later, waking you up. And you're like, why in the world am I waking up seeing children who are being abused? Why am I waking up bothered with the lack of a good space for musicians in this city? Why am I waking up thinking about blah, blah, blah? Because intuition, that knower, is part of that God life. Then the voice of reason starts calculating how to make those dreams come to pass. Now I'm going to show you What happens when the third voice gets in the room? Here's how I'm going to do it. Draw with me about 2 or 3 inches at the bottom of your page remaining. Draw now listen, don't be putting my drawing in the Smithsonian. This is some skilled artistic work here, a horizontal line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our floor. This is when we drink, well, when we're living, period, our floor. Our floor represents the lowest we will allow life to go. The worst we will, I should have put a gigantic picture up here on this screen. 2017, I was flipping through, I'm all those things you heard, and I'm a pastor. I think you heard that too. So I was preaching, I was a pastor down in Harrisonville, Missouri, by the way. And I'm flipping through the Sunday pictures to pick the good pictures I can use for sermon recaps. And Lord, if I flipped one of them pictures and it looked like I was in my late second trimester, 233 pounds, and I then stepped into some kickboxing fitness, okay? Something break off in here. Don't be looking for me to defend you. It was just fitness, okay? All right? Don't be looking at me. I ain't gonna Jackie Chan nobody. Okay, so what was that? When I looked at that picture, I realized I was below, draw that arrow, I was below my floor. We have fitness floors. We got financial floors. Come on. You go to the ATM, you get that receipt back, and it says 480. And you know your floor is, I'll never have less than 500 in my account, 1,500, 5,000, whatever your number is. If your number's got a couple commas in it, talk to me. I need to holler at you. But we go through that. Relationship floor. We go from disagreeing to name calling, or we go from name calling to the silent treatment for 6-7 days. We all have a comfort level, or a floor represents how bad we'll let things get. And let me tell you what happens when we go below our floor. The alarm goes off to tell us, you better get your act together, right? So that's what happens when we are beneath our floor. Draw another line about 6 or 7 inches from the top of your page. Somebody tell me what that line is? Ceiling. This is our ceiling. And believe it or not, just like we have as bad as we're comfortable letting things get, guess what we got? We have an as good as we will allow things to get. Our ceiling, it's just as good as we think things should be. What's that sound like? I ain't never had a woman be this good to me. I mean, the meal was there, or when I told her I wanted to hang with the boys, she didn't ask me where we were going or how long we was gonna be there. And when I got home, the only thing she asked me was, did I have a good time? And was I hungry? I never had a relation. I never had a man not call me out of my name. I never had a man, woo, 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 woo. I never had a man keep his voice calm and respond gently when I was upset. I never had this many commas in my bank account. What happens? Draw this arrow with me, y'all. We go above our ceiling. What happens? Make the noise for me. Alarms go off. Too high, too high. You've never had it this good. What do? We literally, when we're beneath our floor, we work to get ourselves back up above that as bad as we'll allow things. When we're above our ceiling, we will work to get ourselves back down to this, our comfort zone. The range of life that we are comfortable living in. Let me give you a couple examples. My mentor had a client, had a legitimate fall in a big, very well established, it was Walmart, don't matter, I'll say it. In Walmart, legitimate fall, so don't be throwing water on Walmart's floor, y'all. He got a $330,000 tax-free settlement. Paid in one lump sum. 6 months later, he was borrowing $20 to get his parents to the airport. All that money was gone. So he gets to my mentor. My mentor says, well, what happened? He said this. Listen to me very carefully. He said, having that money scared me. And I was coming up. How many of y'all know if you're ready to get rid of the scary money, a lot of people will help you? Anybody that needed a loan, this paid off, or I'm going to invest in this business. Anybody needed, he was making up reasons to get rid of that money. And here's what he said. I knew how to be broke. I didn't know how to have money. Now, carefully invested, that money could have sustained him for a good while, or even gone into some things that took that $330,000 to $500,000 to $750,000 to $1 million, right? Having that money scared me, and I had to get back down to my comfort zone. Okay, there was a couple came in for coaching, and the wife said, our marriage is so good, it's scaring me. Well, how was your week? Oh, we had so many arguments this week. What? They weren't comfortable at the new level of relationship, so they had to manifest some arguments to get themselves back down into their comfort zone, back below the ceiling. Okay, so what's the alarm? The alarm is the voice of fear. Now, you notice something about that? The alarm, the fear doesn't judge, this is different bad, I better sound an alarm, but this is different good, I'll be quiet. No. It doesn't judge good or bad. It only recognizes this is unfamiliar territory. I better let this person know you are outside of your norm. Now, let me help you church folk today. This is not the spirit of fear that we know very powerfully from Scripture. This is the voice that is innately in us to keep us safe. Back when we lived in the huts and in the wilderness, this was that voice of fear scanning for danger that said, that rustling in them bushes over there might be a lion. Now, you can rebuke that voice of fear if you want to. That is trying to keep me alive. If we're on the roof of this building and I happen to step over here, that voice of fear is going to say, bro, you're 2 feet away from the edge. Get thee back. I don't want to be rebuking that voice. Well, I take authority. No, you can do that if you want to. Okay. This is that voice that just warns us of potential risk and danger. Now, here's what happens. When we succumb to the intensity of that voice of fear, reason, the voice of reason, by the way, us guys generally operate more out of that reason and logic center. Women, y'all already know, Y'all operate more naturally and powerfully out of that intuition. That's why you knew that boy was lying. You knew he was lying before you even asked him the question. That man was lying. And that's the, look, come on, where my husband's at. That's why y'all like, are you my wife or are you the Holy Spirit? I can't tell no more. Because that voice of intuition is more natural. So here's what the voice of reason starts doing when we succumb to the voice of fear. Reason actually starts partnering with fear to logically explain why the fear is right and why we should knock that dreaming, aspiring, and doing better off. There's a lot of different voices that come up for that. Well, nobody's in my family's ever done it. I don't know who I thought I was. I don't know what I was thinking I could, right? I might bottom out. Come on, if you're driving down the street, reason will say, if I fail, I'm gonna be living behind that dumpster right there. Reason will start calculating factors that support and legitimize the fear. Okay, now, when we obey that voice of fear, look what happens. Here's the conversation. That was scary. I better not risk or do that again. And in order to avoid going above my ceiling, I will actually lower my ceiling. Come on. Where your girlfriend at? You told her to be here. Girl, it started in the morning. Remember I sent you the invite. Did you register? No. You coming? It don't matter. We'll register you when we get there. You coming? No. All right, well, what about girls' night? We ain't did it in December yet. You coming to girls' night? No. Come on, fellas. Hey, bro, did you read that book? Did you watch that video I sent you from Dr. Myron Golden, that mindset book? No. Oh, man, well, listen. He's coming to town January 17th. I'm getting tickets, man. You want me to buy you a ticket? No. What happens? Life starts to become more restrictive, and look at the capacity that we're now operating in from a lower ceiling. Life starts becoming restrictive. I have a client who went from struggling to leave the house and come out in the community to leaving the house to get the mail. Then she went from going to get the mail to not leaving the house at all. She went from not leaving the house to not leaving the bedroom and then not getting out of bed. Now, I'm going to let y'all think about what that means her bedroom became. Bathroom, kitchen. Okay, so we start to get very restrictive and our life is in a diminished capacity. Okay, so let me give you the voice of fear remedy. Remember, this voice of fear is not your enemy. This is not the spirit of fear that the Bible tells us we take authority over. This is the natural fear that's just our warning system. I'll give you a 2-word remedy for that voice of fear. Thank you. See, the voice of fear doesn't have to be followed. It just needs to be heard. It's trying to warn you, and when you ignore the warning gets louder. When you fight the voice of fear, it gets stronger. So here's the question. What am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling so much fear? Now, listen, you can call me crazy if you want to, but the Bible says, what shall we say to these things? That says things are talking. Number 2, you can't think back or feel back. You got to talk back. And of course, that scripture says the best thing you can say is, if God be for me, who can be against me? So here's the question for fear. Fear, what are you trying to warn me? What is your warning? And then you say to that fear, okay, I got the message. Thank you. But we got this anyway. I'm okay. We're okay. we're going forward higher anyway. Look what happens to being above your ceiling. You start to adapt, adjust, and what was uncomfortable becomes comfortable. And you learn how to stay and maintain that higher level of living. Look what happened to your ceiling. Instead of your ceiling lowering and diminishing your capacity, that ceiling raises and your capacity of life increases. My guy with the $330,000 could have stayed if he had just listened to that voice of fear. He could have stayed at 330 and let the warning system subside and the discomfort of having more money than he ever had normalize. Adjust. And then guess what else you have once you've allowed that system? You now have a skill set of navigating the discomfort of growth and expansion. Because guess what? Change is scary. The prerequisite of change is chaos. The moment you decide to change, you throw yourself into utter discomfort. Okay. So now, we fight for comfort and we fight to live from some limiting beliefs. If you guys would help me pass these out to the tables behind you, take a look at these top 10 limiting beliefs. We literally begin to fight. Please remember I said this to y'all this morning. We will fight harder to stay stuck than we will to get free. We will fight harder to live in this restricted capacity than we will to grow. In fact, the experts say that we are either growing up or we're growing down, that we're never staying the same. So be careful if you hear yourself say, I'm cool, I'm good right where I'm at. Well, there is no right where I'm at. You're either growing up or you're growing down. Okay? So these are many of the limiting beliefs that subconsciously come screaming out of us when we start pushing ourselves for change. Look at the one we think should be number one is number 5. Somebody call it out for me.
Fear of failure.
It's number 5, y'all. Call out number 1.
Fear of greatness.
The number one, Amanda Goldston did all the research and found the number one limiting belief is our fear of greatness. Okay. Number 2, fear of not being good enough. Now, notice I put the word good in parentheses. Not good enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not skinny enough, not popular enough, not educated enough, not from the right side of the tracks, right? Not from the right family lineage, right? Not light-skinned enough, not dark-skinned enough, not the right grade of hair. Whatever it is, let me tell you, you can scratch the word good out. It's all just a belief I am not enough. Okay? Then we got fear of success, limiting beliefs about our own worth and purpose. We even got limiting beliefs about money. Been in a wrong church setting, what did they say? If you got money, you did it the wrong way. You scamming somebody. My mentor grew up in a time frame where if your suit wasn't from the thrift store, they were suspicious where you getting this money from. If your shoes didn't have cardboard in the bottom, you weren't considered very holy. So we somehow equate poverty with holiness. So we have these subconscious beliefs of why we shouldn't, let alone can't, have more and better and greater. Okay, so here's what happens. We then are operating out of a false internal belief. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm a mistake. I don't matter. And we have these limiting beliefs. So which one of those, or 10 of those, or some number in between, are glowing right now, pulsating off the page because you recognize that you carry it? The opportunity I'm putting in front of you is, how would you like to start addressing that limiting belief so you can sever in order to soar? You notice if you don't sever, no matter how much you soar, you will come crashing back down. So you have to sever so you can truly soar. Okay, now, in addition to the false beliefs about ourselves, the limiting beliefs that we all carry, we also have oftentimes very powerful and deeply personal trauma and literal PTSD or complex PTSD from things that we have suffered, real and perceived. No, y'all know this by now, it's 2024, almost 2025. PTSD is not limited to soldiers in Afghanistan or the Ukraine. PTSD happens from, mine happened from sexual harm at 7 years old. Okay, I'll just leave it there. But we have physical abuse, PTSD, verbal abuse, PTSD, domestic violence, teachers, in our formative years, people of influence that traumatized us. And listen, some of them, they meant well. So anyway, then we have a nervous system operating out of PTSD that's not just this voice of fear that's warning us when things are different, but a hypervigilant, fear-based system that's afraid of everything. Some of y'all's kicked off just because I asked you to write your dreams down. Okay, so what we have to do is learn how to recognize that nervous system can heal from trauma. We can literally move the stuck energy of trauma through our body. I'm happy to help you if you need help. But we can disconnect the message that says dreaming and aspiring is dangerous. In addition to having this internal conflict, we all live in systems of status quo where everybody thinks and behaves and believes the same way. My last name is Jackson. Oh, we Jacksons, we don't do that. Come on, that's a family status quo. Anybody the first one in your family to get your degree? What was that? You broke out of the status quo. Any of y'all get criticized or them little slick talk because you decided to get a degree? You think you better than us? Okay, bookworm. Start a business when everybody else ran to Ford to break their back for a little bit of change. You started a business. Starting a business? Well, what's wrong with the Ford plant? That's what we do. So you got status quo systems. Come on. Let's talk about them cultural status quo systems. That ain't for black folk. What you doing talking articulate up there on that stage? What do you do? We using big words. You ain't them. Well, that ain't for us. We don't do that. So we have cultural systems, we have education systems, government systems, and these systems have rules that say, follow these rules, think this way, behave this way, and you belong. But if you break the rule, we will kick you out. Church status quo systems. My marketing lady, it's kind of why I'm recording myself. If I don't have this material, she's going to do something to me. When she left the Baptist church, her grandmama cried. You're going to go to hell because you're not a Baptist. So we got status quo systems. And by the way, when you leave a status quo system, they turn on you because you don't just throw yourself into the chaos of change. Your change bothers their normal. What's the message? Get back here where you belong, and don't you try to leave us again. Okay, so if I had time, I would show you this. When we leave that system, we throw ourselves into utter chaos, because in that system, we're told what to think. In the wilderness, leaving that system, we learn how to think. We're groping around in the unknown. We lose all of our bearings. We lose our sense of identity because I was told I was a Jackson. So when I leave that system, now it's like in that system, I'm told who I am. In the journey of growth and transformation, I discover who I am and who I always have been and always meant to be. Okay, so I'll say more about that if y'all dare to have me back. I just want to give you everything in one morning. So we've got to learn how to shut down, close off those limiting beliefs and false beliefs, because here's what they make us do. They make us commit treason against our own hearts. And I don't care what external relationships you have. If your internal relationship is one of self-sabotage, limiting beliefs, and living a less than of who you were created to be, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, vocally, you're supposed to unleash that. And now you're shrinking back, or you can't quite get that full capacity out because you're stuck in comparison. Or if I unleash this, who will they think I am? Who do you think you are? Oh, you Whitney Houston, you this, that, right? So we get into comparison that says, I'd better diminish so that other people are not bothered by my amazing radiant light. No. Got to overcome that. Otherwise, you're committing treason against your own heart. How can you have any external harmony with that kind of internal disharmony? One of my mentor's clients, I think I'm 2-3 minutes left here. One of my mentor's clients, he said, I'm here because the doctors told me they had good news and bad news. The good news was I didn't have Crohn's disease. The bad news is my body is behaving like I do. And they told me I better come talk to somebody. Do you understand how much of our physical ailments are manifestations of these internal acts of treason and self-sabotage against our own hearts? That don't stay mental and emotional. The body starts to respond. Come on, nervous tics, restless leg syndrome, tossing and turning all night, insomnia, cluster headaches, hypertension, stress disorders, gut health issues. So the man went back to doing what he was passionate about, that his status quo system told him he couldn't do. He went trail hiking, he went rock climbing, he went base jumping. All those Crohn's disease systems left because they were psychosomatic. They were not from real physical issues. So we've got to leave that, because if we stay there, y'all know what we do. We then start to self-medicate, isolate, and we either implode or explode or both. Y'all know the explosion. What you looking at? What's your problem? We snapping on everybody. What's the new word these young folks are saying? Crash out. We crash out on everybody. Somebody at the grocery store likes your shirt. Can I help you? We crash it out because that internal disharmony is causing us to explode, or we implode. What is that? Anxiety, depression, right? A lower state of being where now, not only am I never going to dream, I don't even think I'm going to get out of bed for this less than life. So, want to give you some tools on how to do that. If you guys would take a couple and then pass them to those tables behind you. Listen, we can't stay here. Not only can we not stay here, we can't stay here in this room another second. Let's get out of here. Close your eyes. I want you to put your face in the future. Listen, if you're already living like me, ecstatic and can't believe this is what you get to do with your life, guess what? That's very, very nice. But there's still another next and a higher level of it. Okay? Just ask any CEO, any entrepreneur, if they're at 5 million, their next is 10 million. So it's not get to a certain level of greatness and then you're done. Remember, you're either growing up or you're growing down. So if you are living it, picture your future where you're 10 times more impactful, abundant. If you're living between the ceiling and floor and it is restrictive, picture waking up tomorrow and you are living that ecstatic life. There's no restrictions, no limitations. Everything in your heart that you desire to do, you are doing it. Literally, see yourself. I want to ask you to ask yourself this question. Who would I have to be that person? And then ask yourself, what would I have to let go of to be that person? Who would I have to be is question number one. Number two, what will I have to let go of to be that person? One final thing before you open your eyes. You see yourself living in that higher, greater, expanded, abundant self, connected to your 5 senses so that it registers in your deep subconscious. See yourself in that future state of being. What do you see? Do you see a building? Do you see a mountain? Do you see a field of flowers? Do you see a beach with your feet in the water? Picture what you see with your eyeballs, literal sight. Now, look at that success picture and listen. What does success on that level sound like? Do you hear rushing water? Do you hear violins? Do you hear children's laughter? Do you hear the breeze coming past your ears? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? Take a big whiff of that future state of being, that future level of living. What do you smell? And what does it feel like? You can connect that to your 5 senses. You can grab a piece of candy in the middle of that table and take a big whiff of chocolate or sugar. I wish I had the microphone now. I'm messing with this plastic wrapper of my peppermint. I can smell the peppermint. I can put it on my tongue. And that looks like, feels like, smells like I am worthy of unconditional love and acceptance. That smells like I am globally traveling, doing workshops of 15 to 25 people for $20,000 to $35,000 for 2-day workshops. I own a tiny home that me and my wife live in and 2 other tiny homes that I invite others to stay in, coaches to come and do retreats, and the other time I use them for Airbnb. And I'm bringing in a personal annual salary of no less than $151,000 a year. Come on, some of y'all, it ain't a demo no more. It is recorded and released. Some of you, it's not lyrics on a napkin anymore. I'm in the studio cutting the demo. Some of you, it's not, I would do this one day if I was starting a business too. I own the LLC and the URL of the website. Picture it, connect it to your 5 senses. Because if you can have it, you can have it. Now, I don't have time to tell you this, but you're connecting new neural pathways in your brain. Your brain is literally generating neuroplasticity in the direction you want it to go. See, too many times we're just trying to stop what we don't want. That won't help you. Not doing what you're doing would put you anywhere else. Only pursuing what you really want will get you there. Not wanting to be in St. Louis can put you anywhere, put you in Harrisonville. That's all right down there. But only wanting to be in Omaha will get you to Omaha. So if you spend all of your energy wanting what you really want, your brain starts figuring out how to get you there. Most people, when they dream it, the first thing they say is, man, that's what I want. I just don't know how. Don't worry about how. Just live there so you can live there. Okay, let me stop. I've given you a sheet there where this is better than anything I've told you. If you will follow these instructions, grab a journal and start walking yourself through personal growth and transformation, literally admitting to yourself the false beliefs and limiting beliefs so that you can confront them. Self-awareness means it can no longer operate quietly in the background, sabotaging you. Now you can start addressing it or confronting it. And if you'll follow those instructions, and then I do have a free community that you can join. I'm putting stuff like this out there all the time. There's a bunch of other growth-minded people there encouraging each other. And then it does give you access to walking yourself through a 6-week growth and transformation process, video lessons, homework assignments, reading assignments that you can use and keep for the rest of your life. And all the information on how to do that is right there. There's some business cards I have here. Here's a question. How many of you went there? You could see it. You could smell it, taste it. Now, I want to invite you. I begged a client. He was talking about showing up instead of riddled with anxiety and low self-esteem. I said, well, what are you in that future? I'm confident, I'm patient, and I'm bold. Okay, what does that smell like? Man, it smells like apple pie. What does it taste like? It tastes like lemon. I begged him, y'all. I beg you, don't go straight home. Stop at Price Chopper and get one of those Marie Callender or Patti LaBelle apple pies. Put it in the oven. I don't care if you don't eat it. Let that smell fill your house and say it. I am confident, I am patient, I am bold. He came back the next week. He said, you know what I told my wife this week? I said, what? I told my wife, you know, I need support instead of criticism. I never had the courage to say that. And my wife said to me, what did you say? He said, I repeated it. 30 minutes later, she came back to me and said, you know what? If I heard you say things like that more often, I would know how to show up for you. So he stood up for himself. I told him, I said, I'd even put a slice of that pie by my bed and drift off to the smell with a piece of lemon pulp on my tongue, tasting that lemon. How many of y'all drooling now? You can taste the lemon. I had a client said it was lemon popsicles. It was my sister, so I sent her $10. I said, this money is for lemon popsicles only. I would clear space out of my freezer to have those lemon popsicles. It smelled like honeysuckle to her. I said, I'd go to Bed Bath & Body Works, give me everything honeysuckle, lotion, hand soap, shower gel, candles. But get those 5 senses things into your natural world and say it. If it's markers, y'all be careful. You know, where my marker sniffers at? I am worthy of unconditional love. I am dizzy, right? No. So just want you to get that into your world. All of the negative got into your subconscious through your 5 senses. The only way that changes is to get the truth. I am worthy, I matter, I have value into your deep subconscious through your 5 senses. And to pull that future into you, pull yourself to that future through your 5 senses. Had a guy did it. He said, I can see myself in London 3 years from now in an old church with stained glass window teaching kids scriptures. The next year, my mentor went back to Brazil. Kid came up and said, guess where Emilio is? Where? He's in London training kids scripture. His job sent him over there because he was English speaking. He advanced that dream of his by 2 years. He had it in 1 year instead of 3 because he put his face in the future and could see it, smell it, taste it, hear it, and whatever the other one was I didn't say. Okay, questions, comments? Anybody? Have I appropriately exhausted you this morning? Listen, email me. I think my personal email is at the very bottom. info@forwardleading is there. If I can do anything to serve you, to give you more of this, give you access to the Shift Forward community. These are the 6 weeks of transformation that changed my life 10, 11, 12 years ago. And I've been a spoiled man ever since. Thank you guys so much for your time this morning. God bless you.